There is a new sign for President Trump and the Republican Party, and it's a warning. A fresh poll from Gallup is out that could put Republicans on shaky ground in the midterms if the president's approval rating is an indicator of how they'll do. CNN's chief data analyst, Harry Enton, is here. All right, give us the goods on what this new Gallup poll says.
I mean, it's a disaster if it holds towards the midterm elections. And I should note, of course, it's not alone. I mean, just take a look here. This is Gallup. This is the longest running poll. You know, Gallup has been conducting polls since my father was a kid, and my father was born in 1927, had me in the 60s. Look at this in January. Donald Trump's not approving. Not too bad, not too great. It was at -1 point, right within the margin of error, breaking even. But look at this now. Negative 24 points, way, way down. We're talking about a drop of over 20 points in the wrong direction for the President of the United States. Minus 24 points, that's a 23-point move in the incorrect direction if you're the president. And of course, what's so important here, Sarah Seidner, is it matches the trend that we've seen with other polls. That is Donald Trump hitting his low for the second term. I was doing the count last night. I think we're up to 10 polls in sort of the last 40 days, 10 different pollsters who have said that Trump is at the lowest point he is in his second term.
Okay, so this is absolutely wild. And I mean wild in a way that just shows you how much trouble Trump is actually in right now. Because what's happening is Trump's approval ratings are in total free fall. Trump's approval has collapsed to the mid-30s. Mid-30s, that's terrible. That's the worst approval rating of his entire second term. That's near his all-time low from 2021. And Trump is losing support everywhere. Trump is losing support among Republicans. Trump is losing support among independents. Trump is losing support among men. Trump is losing support among people who voted for him in 2024. But before we go any further, real quick, let's be honest. You can't really trust mainstream media anymore. That's why we built Pump Politics, to bring you real stories, real context, and no corporate spin. If you want to stay ahead of the headlines, join our free newsletter. We'll send the news straight to your inbox every day. Just click the link in the description to join. And if you just want to support what we're doing, join us, be part of the community that actually cares about the truth. All right, let's get back to the video.
With us now, CNN chief data analyst Harry Enton. Let's talk about the numbers.
Let's talk about the numbers. Republicans should be running for the hills this morning because the blue wave is building, my dear friend, Mr. Berman. What are we talking about here? Well, Matt Van Epps, the Republican candidate, he won it by 9, but this is a district that Donald Trump won by 22 points, 15 points, 17 points. This is a 13-point gain for the Democrats in terms of the margin, and excuse time for Republicans is over because I hear all about these special elections. Oh, the turnout's so low. It's not representative of what happened in a midterm election.
And it's not just the polls. It's what's happening inside the MAGA movement. The MAGA base is actually splitting. Trump supporters are actually breaking with Trump. Conservative commentators are actually criticizing Trump. Republican lawmakers are actually pushing back against Trump. The whole thing is fracturing. And that's huge. That's a massive shift. That's a sign that Trump's grip on the Republican Party is slipping. That's a sign that Trump's movement is falling apart. So here's what's happening. Trump's approval has dropped to around 36%, according to Gallup, 36%, and his disapproval is around 60%, 60%. So 6 out of 10 Americans disapprove of Trump, 6 out of 10. That's not a small number. That's a huge number. That means Trump has lost the support of the majority of the country. Trump is deeply unpopular. Trump is toxic. And this is a dramatic drop from earlier in his second term. Earlier, Trump had approval ratings in the low to mid 40s. Trump was doing better. Trump had more support. But then things happened. Trump imposed tariffs. Prices went up. People got angry about inflation. Trump issued aggressive executive orders. Trump went after his enemies. Trump demanded treason trials. Trump threatened people. Trump became more authoritarian, and people started to turn against him. And the geography is interesting too. Trump is still popular in deeply Republican states. Trump has approval ratings above 50% in places like Idaho, Utah, Alabama, West Virginia. These are solid red states. These are places where Trump is still loved, but Trump is deeply underwater in blue states. Trump is deeply underwater in swing states. Trump has approval ratings in the 30s or low 40s in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, Nevada. These are the states that decide elections. These are the states that matter for the midterms, and Trump is losing badly in these states. So Trump has a very lopsided approval map. Trump is popular in places he's already going to win. Trump is unpopular in places that matter. Trump is underwater in the swing states. And that's a disaster for Republicans in 2026. That's a disaster for Trump's ability to push his agenda through Congress. That's a disaster for Republican candidate recruitment. Because if you're a Republican running in a swing state, if you're a Republican running in a purple district, do you really want Trump's endorsement? Do you really want Trump campaigning for you? Because Trump is unpopular in those places. Trump might actually hurt your chances of winning. And here's what's really important. Trump is losing support among people who voted for him in 2024. Trump won in 2024. Trump got elected president, but now some of the people who voted for him are turning against him. Why? Because of tariffs, because of inflation, because of his aggressive executive orders, because of his court defeats, because of his threats against lawmakers, because of his authoritarian rhetoric. And the MAGA base is splitting. Some Trump supporters are still completely loyal. Some Trump supporters will follow Trump no matter what. But other Trump supporters are starting to question him. Other Trump supporters are starting to say maybe Trump is going too far, maybe Trump's executive orders are overreaching, maybe Trump's threats against lawmakers are inappropriate, maybe we should push back. And conservative commentators are starting to criticize Trump. Conservative columnists are starting to write critical pieces. Conservative commentators on Fox News are starting to question Trump's tactics. And that's huge, because if conservative media starts turning against Trump, if conservative voices start criticizing Trump, then Trump loses a major source of support. Trump loses the ability to control the narrative on the right, and Republican lawmakers are starting to push back. Some Republicans are refusing to support Trump's spending cuts. Some Republicans are questioning Trump's tariff strategy. Some Republicans are concerned about Trump's use of executive power. Some Republicans are worried about constitutional issues with Trump's orders. And that's splitting the party. That's creating divisions. That's making it harder for Republicans to function as a unified party. So you've got a situation where Trump's approval is collapsing, where his base is fracturing, where his party is dividing, where independent voters are turning against him, where swing state voters are voting against him, and where the midterms are approaching. And this is a disaster for Trump. This is a disaster for Republicans. Because if Trump is unpopular, if Trump's approval is in the mid-30s, if 6 out of 10 Americans disapprove of him, then Republicans are going to have a hard time in 2026. Republicans are going to struggle to recruit candidates. Republicans are going to struggle to defend their seats. Republicans are going to lose the House. Democrats are going to flip the House. Democrats are going to take back power. And Trump knows this. Trump understands that his approval has collapsed. Trump understands that he's losing support. And Trump is probably panicking. Trump probably thought his second term would be smooth sailing. Trump probably thought he would dominate. Trump probably thought he would consolidate power. But instead, Trump is losing support. Trump is becoming more unpopular. Trump is watching his movement fracture. And the more Trump escalates, the more Trump threatens people, the more Trump goes after his enemies, the more Trump issues aggressive executive orders, the worse it gets. Because every time Trump demands treason trials, every time Trump threatens lawmakers, every time Trump issues another executive order that gets blocked by the courts, his approval drops a little bit more, his base fractures a little bit more, his party divides a little bit more. So Trump is in a spiral. Trump is losing support. Trump's approval is collapsing. His base is splitting, his party is dividing, and the midterms are coming. And this is going to be a disaster for Trump. This is going to be a disaster for Republicans. This is going to be great news for Democrats. All right, so let me explain what people are completely missing about Trump's collapsing approval and what's happening inside the MAGA movement. Because most people, when they see approval ratings drop, they think, okay, so Trump is less popular. But this is more significant than that. This is a fundamental shift. This is Trump losing his coalition. This is Trump's movement fracturing. This is the beginning of the end for Trump's political dominance. So let's start with the numbers. Trump's approval is in the mid-30s, 36% according to Gallup. That's really low. That's near his all-time low from 2021. That's lower than it was at the end of his first term. Trump's approval has collapsed. Trump is deeply unpopular. Trump has lost the support of the majority of the country. And the trajectory is important. Trump started his second term with approval ratings in the low to mid 40s. Trump had around 45% approval. That's not great, but it's not terrible. It's workable. But then Trump's approval started to drop. Why? Because of tariffs. Tariffs drive up prices. Prices on food went up. Prices on cars went up. Prices on everything went up. And people blamed Trump. People thought Trump's tariffs were causing inflation, and people got angry. And then Trump issued aggressive executive orders. Trump went after his enemies. Trump demanded treason trials. Trump threatened lawmakers. Trump tried to fire independent agency heads. Trump tried to consolidate power. And every time Trump did something aggressive, every time Trump made threats, every time Trump issued an executive order that got blocked by the courts, his approval dropped a little bit more. So you can see the pattern. Trump starts with reasonable approval. Trump does things that anger people. Trump's approval drops. Trump gets angry about the drop. Trump escalates. Trump does more aggressive things. Trump's approval drops more. And the cycle continues. And now Trump is in the mid-30s. Trump is deeply unpopular. And the thing that's really significant is where Trump is unpopular. Trump is still popular in solid Republican states. Trump is still loved by his base in red America. But Trump is deeply unpopular in swing states. Trump is deeply unpopular in suburban areas. Trump is deeply unpopular among independent voters. Trump is deeply unpopular among women. Trump is deeply unpopular among younger voters. And that's a disaster because swing states decide elections. Suburban voters decide elections. Independent voters decide elections. If Trump is unpopular with all of those groups, then Republicans are going to lose. Republicans are going to lose the House in 2026. Republicans are going to lose the Senate. Republicans are going to lose the presidency in 2028. And here's what's happening inside the MAGA movement. Some Trump supporters are still completely loyal. Some Trump supporters will follow Trump no matter what. But the movement is fracturing. Some Trump supporters are starting to question Trump's tactics. Some Trump supporters are starting to say that Trump is going too far. Some Trump supporters are worried about constitutional issues. Some Trump supporters are concerned about Trump's threats. And why? Because tariffs are hurting people. People are paying more for groceries. People are paying more for cars. People are struggling with inflation. And Trump promised that tariffs would help. Trump promised that tariffs would bring jobs back. Trump promised that tariffs would make America great. But tariffs are making things more expensive. Tariffs are making life harder for regular people. And people are angry about it. And Trump's executive orders are controversial. Trump is trying to fire independent agency heads. Trump is trying to consolidate power. Trump is trying to eliminate checks on his authority. And some conservatives are saying that's unconstitutional. Some conservatives are saying that's overreach. Some conservatives are concerned about the precedent. Some conservatives are worried about what happens when a Democrat becomes president and has all this power. And Trump's threats are alarming people. Trump is demanding treason trials for lawmakers who criticize him. Trump is threatening to execute his political opponents. Trump is using language of violence and intimidation. And some conservatives are saying that's inappropriate. Some conservatives are saying that's not what conservatives believe in. Some conservatives are saying that Trump is becoming authoritarian and conservative media is starting to turn. Some conservative commentators are criticizing Trump. Some right-wing voices are questioning Trump's tactics. And that's huge because conservative media has been Trump's strongest supporter. Conservative media has been defending Trump no matter what. But now some conservative voices are breaking with Trump. And that means Trump is losing a major source of support. And Republican lawmakers are pushing back. Some Republicans are refusing to support Trump's agenda. Some Republicans are questioning Trump's strategy. Some Republicans are worried about their own elections. And if Republican lawmakers start breaking with Trump, if Republicans start voting against Trump's priorities, then Trump's agenda grinds to a halt. Trump can't get anything done. Trump becomes a lame duck. And here's what's really important. Trump's approval is dropping among men. Trump is supposed to be strong with male voters. Trump is supposed to appeal to working class men. But men are turning against Trump. Why? Because of the economy. Because tariffs are hurting the economy. Because people are struggling to afford things. Because Trump promised he would fix the economy, but instead he made it worse. And Trump is losing independent voters. Independents are crucial in elections. Independents decide close elections. Independents decide swing states. And Trump is deeply unpopular with independents. Why? Because independents don't like polarization. Independents don't like authoritarian rhetoric. Independents don't like threats against lawmakers. Independents want normalcy. Independents want a president who respects the Constitution. And Trump is not giving them that. So you've got a situation where Trump's approval has collapsed to the mid-30s, where Trump is deeply unpopular in swing states, where Trump is losing support among men and independents, where Trump's MAGA base is fracturing, where conservative media is turning, where Republican lawmakers are pushing back, and the midterms are approaching. And this is a disaster for Republicans. Republicans thought they were going to dominate in 2026. Republicans thought they were going to expand their House majority. Republicans thought they were going to take the Senate. But if Trump is unpopular, if Trump's base is fracturing, if independents are turning against Republicans, then Republicans are going to lose. Democrats are going to take the House. That's what's going to happen. Okay, so let me break this down into what actually matters, because there's a lot of polling data and political analysis here. But really, there's just a few core things you need to understand. Number one, how bad Trump's approval numbers actually are. And it's pretty straightforward. Trump's approval is in the mid-30s. That's terrible. That's near his all-time low. That means 6 out of 10 Americans disapprove of him. That means the majority of the country doesn't support him. That means Trump is deeply unpopular, and that's a disaster for a president. That's a disaster for his party. That's a disaster for his ability to push his agenda through Congress. Number two, where Trump is unpopular and why it matters. And this is really important, because Trump is popular in solid Republican states, but deeply unpopular in swing states. Swing states decide elections. If Trump is unpopular in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, Nevada, then Republicans are going to lose those states. And if Republicans lose swing states, they lose the House, they lose the Senate, they lose the presidency. So Trump's unpopularity in swing states is devastating for the Republican Party. Number three, why Trump's approval has collapsed. And it's mainly two things. First, tariffs. Trump's tariffs have driven up prices. People are paying more for groceries and cars and everything. People blame Trump. People think Trump is responsible. So people are angry about tariffs. Second, Trump's aggressive executive orders and authoritarian rhetoric. Trump is demanding treason trials. Trump is threatening lawmakers. Trump is trying to consolidate power. And people are concerned about that. People are worried about authoritarianism. People are worried about Trump violating the Constitution. Number four, what's happening inside the MAGA movement. And this is significant because the MAGA base is fracturing. Some Trump supporters are still completely loyal, but other Trump supporters are questioning Trump. Other Trump supporters are concerned about Trump going too far. Other Trump supporters are worried about constitutional issues. And that's a crack in Trump's base. That's a sign that the movement is not as unified as it appeared. Number five, what's happening with Republican support. And Republican lawmakers are starting to push back against Trump. Some Republicans are refusing to support Trump's spending cuts. Some Republicans are questioning Trump's tariff strategy. Some Republicans are concerned about Trump's use of executive power. And that's splitting the party. That's creating divisions. And if Republicans are divided, they can't govern effectively. They can't push Trump's agenda through. They can't function as a unified party. Number six, what this means for 2026. And this is the crucial thing. If Trump is deeply unpopular, if his base is fracturing, if Republicans are divided, if independent voters are turning against Republicans, then Republicans are going to have a terrible 2026. Democrats are going to flip the House. Democrats are going to have a real shot at the Senate. Democrats are going to be in a strong position going into 2028. So Trump's collapsing approval, the fracturing of the MAGA base, the Republican divisions, this all points in one direction. It points toward Democratic gains in 2026. It points toward the end of Republican control of Congress. It points toward Trump becoming a lame duck. It points toward Trump losing power. And here's what's really important. Trump's problems are self-inflicted. Trump imposed tariffs that drove up prices. Trump issued aggressive executive orders that alarmed people. Trump made threats against lawmakers that scared people. Trump is demanding treason trials. Trump is becoming more authoritarian. And every time Trump does one of these things, his approval drops a little bit more. His base fractures a little bit more. His party divides a little bit more. So Trump could stop. Trump could moderate his behavior. Trump could back off from aggressive executive orders. Trump could stop threatening lawmakers. Trump could stop demanding treason trials. Trump could try to rebuild support. But Trump is not going to do that. Trump thinks the answer to his problems is to escalate. Trump thinks the answer is to go more aggressive. Trump thinks the answer is to consolidate more power. And that's going to make things worse. That's going to drive his approval down further. That's going to fracture his base more. So we're in a spiral. Trump's approval is collapsing. Trump's base is fracturing. Trump's party is dividing. Trump is escalating his behavior in response. Trump is becoming more authoritarian. Trump is making more threats. Trump is going more aggressive. And this is only going to make things worse. This is going to drive more people away. This is going to create more fractures. And the midterms are coming. And Democrats are counting on this. Democrats are counting on Trump being unpopular. Democrats are counting on independent voters turning against Republicans. Democrats are counting on Trump's base fracturing. Democrats are counting on Republican divisions. And if all of that happens, if all of those things come to pass, then Democrats are going to have a huge advantage in 2026. Democrats are going to flip the House. Democrats are going to take back power. So this is really significant. Trump's collapsing approval is not just a number. It's a sign of bigger changes happening. It's a sign that Trump's coalition is falling apart. It's a sign that Trump's movement is fracturing. It's a sign that Republicans are in trouble. It's a sign that Democrats have a real shot at taking power in 2026. And Trump is panicking. Trump understands what's happening. Trump sees his approval collapsing. Trump sees his base fracturing. Trump sees his party dividing. And Trump is desperate. Trump is escalating. Trump is making threats. Trump is demanding treason trials. Trump is becoming more authoritarian. And none of it is working. None of it is helping. All of it is making things worse. So watch what happens. Watch Trump's approval numbers. Watch whether they continue to drop or whether they stabilize. Watch whether the MAGA base continues to fracture or whether it holds together. Watch whether Republican lawmakers continue to push back or whether they fall in line. Watch whether swing state voters continue to turn against Trump or whether they come back. Because all of that is going to determine what happens in 2026. All of that is going to determine whether Democrats take back the House or whether Republicans hold on. All of that is going to determine the future of American politics. And based on current trends, based on current polling, based on current divisions, it looks like Democrats are going to win big in 2026. It looks like Republicans are going to lose the House. It looks like Trump is going to become a lame duck. It looks like Trump's movement is going to fracture. And that's what Trump's collapsing approval numbers are telling us. That's what the fracturing of the MAGA base is telling us. That's what the Republican divisions are telling us. Trump is spiraling. Trump is losing. Trump is headed for defeat in 2026.